We had the chance to run up to Boise for a couple of days and spend time with my wife's sister and husband. And as much fun as we did have, I couldn't wait to get back because I have some unfinished projects that need my attention. If you're paying attention, that's not my excavator. My excavator's in the shop getting the swing brake fixed, and hopefully we'll be back up here in the next couple of days. So I rented a little Mini X to get the water line tied in for the new yard hydrants on the new property. And again, if you remember, there used to be a yard hydrant right here until I ran it over last year. But nonetheless, it's a perfect place to tie in the new water line. So my wife and I had the opportunity to go up to Boise and hang out with her sister, brother-in-law, niece, and her niece's husband. And it was a kind of a quick trip, but it was an opportunity for us to get away for a minute. And now that I'm back here, kind of thinking about what needs to be done, the first obvious change that's rapidly happening right now is the morning temperatures are cooling off. So soon enough, the ground's going to be frozen. Soon enough, it's going to be hard to do some of these things that I try to get done during the warmer months. But I need to run a harrow or something like that over all of this area that where the dirt has been moved around, where I want grass to grow. I want to get that harrow down, put the seed down, run the harrow over it one more time, and then start watering the grass and see if we can't get some seeds to germinate before it freezes. So it was fun to get up to Boise and see family for sure, but I'm happy to be home, and I need to get all of the work associated with this little pasture down here. I just need to get it done. I need to get the fence finished, and I need to move on to other things. So I don't want to run the trencher too close to the Cummins backup generator, so some of this I got to dig by hand. There's a water line right here that I really don't want to hit, but I'm going to run up to the underground water tank shed and open the door just in case I hit that water line. Okay. Water tanks are totally and completely full. Okay, so now I have access to the valves. If I need to shut anything off in a hurry, I can do that. All right. I'm going to add quite a bit of dirt right here at some point later this fall, so I only need the gas line trench to be about 20 inches deep. I'm trying not to hit that water line and get the gas line installed at the same time. Originally, my plan was to do what's called a home run, basically bringing a gas line from the propane tank just for the shop itself. But after looking at the pipe and fittings, I decided to tee off the line and just check for leaks and check very well, and then hope for the best. There are typically two regulators in your propane system. You're going to have one right at the tank that's going to reduce the pressure down from as high as 250 psi to about 10 psi. Then from there, the next regulator will be at the house and the shop, where it will be reduced down to about 1/4 pound of pressure. But I'm about to install the regulator on this propane tank incorrectly because I do not have the right forged fittings. So you'll have to watch to the very end of the video to see how I end up fixing this regulator. Normally those regulators are installed on the vertical pipe, not on the horizontal pipe. So I need to make sure there's no issues with putting that regulator in like that. Otherwise I may have to move it to the vertical pipe. Over 7 years ago, I believe I brought this excavator up here for the first time, shortly after we closed on the land. And after being a piece of rental equipment for the last few years, you can see it's got a few miles on it, but I forget how fun these little excavators are because they can move around with so much agility compared to the heavier machines. I wouldn't mind actually having a little lightweight excavator like this and then maybe a 20,000 pound excavator to work hand in hand. But at the moment, I want to use the excavator to backfill and compact as much as I can before I return the excavator back to the hardware store. By the way, that's my firewood trailer, waiting for firewood. So this is the moment where there's really no turning back. I'm disconnecting the backup generator from the temporary propane lines that I installed a couple of years back. So now I need to get the Bobtail propane tank and the new gas system online as soon as I can. The only one that's left to do now is to disconnect the propane tank. So everything I've done up to this point is just to move this propane tank. I'm going to tie the old service to the house into the new gas line and then pressure test the entire system before I backfill. And then this propane tank can be moved away from the house up by the Bobtail propane tank. That tank is disconnected, and I believe we're ready to pressure test everything. I need to check this valve. That valve's closed. Okay, I'm going to run up to the Bobtail propane tank, and I'm going to put a 15 psi gauge on it, and I'm going to put this new gauge under test. I isolated everything, so I'm going to pump it up to about 15 psi, and then I'm going to soap every connection, everywhere there's a fitting. There's only 4 spots underground, I think. I'm going to soap that down before I do any backfilling. This line has about 10 psi in it normally, and then when it gets to the house and when it gets to the shop, that regulator reduces it down to whatever it is, 9 inches of water column, 10 inches of water column, which is like less than 1/3 of a pound. It's even less than that, actually. It's probably 10% of a pound of pressure, something like that. Good boy. Get up. now I'm going to soap everything down and check for any leaks. So this is just water and dialed dish soap is what I like to use. I'll put a couple of tablespoons in with maybe 12 ounces of water, and that's usually all you need. So if I have a leak of any kind, you'll see a nice big bubble start to appear, which I don't believe I have any leaks, but I'm gonna go check the next spot, which is the generator, and soap everything down over there, and then I'm gonna check the house connection, and then we're gonna let this sit for probably an hour, just to make sure that I feel comfortable backfilling everything. 15 pounds, we used to say 15 pounds for 15 minutes, but I don't believe that's a code. I believe that's something that plumbers started saying. So 15 pounds indefinitely is probably the right answer. So far so good on this end though, and it's not going down. Okay. Everything looks good on this side. This is exciting. I've wanted to do this for so long, get that propane tank moved for so long. Okay, that fitting looks good. Now let's go check the house, and that's the last spot. Okay, so I'm gonna set my timer on my phone for 1 hour, and then I'm gonna just kind of re-inspect one more time. I'm gonna check the gauge and see if the pressure went down. I'm not anticipating any leaks, but I'm trying to take all the precautions before I start backfilling. And then once I see that the gauge hasn't moved, I can backfill this right here in front of the propane tank, and I can move this propane tank out of here, which is really what I want to do. So all right, let's see if this gauge has moved at all. Okay, so the gauge, the needle on the gauge has not moved in the least bit, and that's what I was really hoping I was gonna see. Yeah, it's ready for backfill. We're done. There she goes, she's live. I'm gonna go ahead and close that valve. I think the best way to do this is I'm gonna go down to the house down there and see if I can't purge some of the air off of the line. But the Bobtail propane tank is online. This is kind of crazy. It's taken a while to make this happen, but okay. Here we go. I'm down here. This is where the tankless water heater is going to go. And that is, woo! It's going to take a while. Hi, Willie. Hi, buddy. There we go. There we go. We got propane. Okay. We got propane there. I don't want to bleed off a whole lot more inside the house. Okay, I'm going to go turn the stove on. I'm going to leave this window open, let this air out. I'm going to go turn the stove on before I turn the tankless water heater on and get the stove lighting so I know there's at least propane to that side of the house. I don't know if the house is what Cedar would call camera ready, but I'm going to turn the stove on the stove top and see if I can get all those burners to light. Okay, we got residual propane. All right, I think I got the house squared away, but there may be some air pockets that that I have to deal with. For instance, the tankless water heater seems to be working okay, but it has a self-igniter on it, so it'll kind of just purge it out. But the stove I'll have to watch. So, but I think we got the house taken care of. So let's go check the shop. Okay, so after soaping everything down, no leaks, we're good to go. Cedar went to get the kids from school, and during that time I was able to literally switch over from the old tank to the new tank. It took a long time to get to this point. I didn't know if I was ever going to actually get one of these Bobtail Propane tank figured out, but now what I have is I have probably 3 to 5 years legitimately worth of propane, and as the world continues to fall apart, this to me is probably more valuable than money in the bank, legitimately. So now I can get the diesel tank relocated. Now I never have to fill up those 100-pound propane tanks again. My just carrying those things around I think took some days off my life for sure. So getting the Bobtail propane tank online is a whole lot of things wrapped up. It's a kind of a consolidation of a lot of little things, and it's exciting. It's exciting to me. So next step is to get the other propane tank up here. I took my skid steer and got some nice, clean, really fine topsoil, and I'm going to progressively backfill and then water settle and then backfill and then water settle around all of the fittings so they have all the support that they need. I love having a yard hydrant up here this close to the propane tank. Fortunately, because of agriculture and mining, there's typically places around here where I can get all of the high pressure fittings that I need. I may just have to drive a little bit to get it. I made about an hour drive to one of the neighboring communities, and I picked up all of the half-inch forged fittings that I needed to install this regulator in the proper position. All right, now we got that regulator hanging the way that it's supposed to be so it can vent properly. So this is done. I am going to soap it down and check for leaks, but other than that, the gas is back on, and I need to go down to the house and make sure that everything's good down there. Thank you guys for taking time to watch, and we will see you in a week. So if I had any real leaks, it would literally slowly turn into a bubble. So I think all the other little bubbles that I'm seeing are just from the squirt bottle. So we're back online again. Gas is flowing. We're good to go.